it could be that that body was moved there recently, right? Because there's been a lot of talk about him being buried on some people's property who might be connected to this or hidden somewhere in town. And with the investigation ramping up and the pressure tightening, it could be that somebody decided to move that body.
Hi, everybody. Before we get into this episode, we just wanted to put a special announcement up top.
Yeah, guys. So the big news here is that remains were found that are believed to possibly be Chance Engelbert's. His family was notified of this several days ago, and we've been kind of just waiting to get more info on that. But as of today, the reason we're putting this little intro to the video, the remains that were found had some of Chance's belongings. Those were shown to Chance's family, and they confirmed that they did belong to Chance. So that's not included in the episode you're about to watch, but everything else that really is pertinent is, I mean, how did he get to this place? Was he put there by somebody else? Did he find his way there on his own and somehow naturally pass away? It's a very remote area. Everything about it is strange. So we go over all of that, as well as what the implications of this whole thing are for Dawn, his mother, for Ryan, the investigator, and everybody else who cares about Chance's case. So we just felt like it would be weird to post that video without including this latest update that literally just came out kind of as we're recording this. But yeah, the degree of likelihood that these remains belong to Chance just shot up quite a bit. Again, not DNA confirmation or dental records, but I think we're getting pretty close to certainty here, right, Myles?
Absolutely. But I want you to stick around because we dive deep into the location, how that relates to Chance's route, what we've heard from Dawn, what we've heard from Ryan, and what this could mean as far as how Chance actually got there. So, guys, stick around. There's a lot more to see. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Unsolved. I'm Miles Reef. I'm here as always with my buddy Sean Cahill. This is the place where we tackle the stories that the TV networks won't touch. Unsolved homicides, missing persons cases, stories without an ending. Sean, what are we getting into right now?
Something super special. This is something I think we've wanted to see for a while on this channel, even though we're fairly new. And that is big news on one of our unsolved cases. We're talking about the Chance Engelbert case, which actually was the first one that you and I dived into and put up on this channel. And a lot of people have come in, immediately kind of grew our community very quickly, I think, because people care about Chance. And this is just one of those stories that has everyone's attention. So we had something else scheduled to come out today, but we decided this was such huge news that we were going to push that down the pipe a little bit and make this sort of like very special update episode for you guys because Dawn Engelbert, Chance's mother, whom we interviewed on this channel, posted on Facebook that she was contacted by the police in this investigation, and they told her that remains were found near where Chance went missing, and it is a high degree of probability that they may belong to Chance. Now, it's not confirmed yet. They're going to have to be tested. And the police haven't even come forward and told the press this yet. This is like super duper duper preliminary news. But Dawn put that on the Find Chance Engelbert Facebook page. The press got a hold of it, and now everybody's excited. So on our channel, Miles will confirm this. We've already gotten a bunch of comments. Hey guys, it looks like they might have found him. Remains were found, blah, blah, blah. So we decided to get right on it. We reached out to Ryan and Dawn. We heard back from them. They're not making any official statements yet, but it does sound like this is super positive news. Why don't I toss it to you, Miles? Because there's more details here. I mean, specifically, like where the body was found in relation to other things we know about the story. And I don't want to monopolize all the time. So that's the big news. Tell us more.
We're obviously on the edge of our seats with this. Our hearts are with Dawn right now while she waits to find out the news if this actually is her son. But we want to keep you guys updated, and we appreciate so many people reaching out to us, so many people being concerned about Chance's case, so many people asking how the family is. And we have passed that information on to Dawn as well. So just so you guys know, like your concerns and your comments are being communicated to the family. So the details of it. So this is what we know. The remains that have been found were found in Scottsbluff National Monument. Now that's about 3 to 5 miles from where Chance was last seen on that video surveillance walking along in Terrytown. Now Terrytown's about 1.5 miles north of Gering and halfway between Gering and Scottsbluff. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what Ryan said to the press. Ryan said that law enforcement officials were seen with shovels at the site in what he believes has been characterized as a crime scene. It's an area that myself and many other people have felt that is where Chance may have went missing. We've always suspected that he could be anywhere from the North Platte River to Five Rocks Road, going west out to the Monument area. Ryan believes that the body is likely that of Engelbert. More than likely, it is Chance, Couch said. Now, that's a quote that Ryan gave the Cowboys State Daily when he interviewed with them over the phone. So, what I really want to look at, what I really would like to look at right now, Sean, is from where those witnesses said they saw those women running down the hill and they got into the truck that was pulling the boat. Where is that location in relation to this spot where these remains have been found?
Let's take a look at it because if you see the map of the area, we'll put one little indicator where Chance was last seen, one little or last believed to have been, based on his phone pings, I should say, one little indicator where this truck was witnessed with the women running down the hill out of the rain from the train tracks. You can see those two items are close. And then let's look at the third indicator, which is where Chance's potential remains were found. Somebody's remains were found here, believed to be Chance. So this is all just in such a tight little area here. You can almost imagine it's possible that when this truck picked those girls up, Chance may have been in it somewhere, right? Because it's almost like you could see the route that they would then take down to this down to Scotts Bluff Monument.
Mm-hmm.
It's chilling actually to see how close it is. So wow. Again, it comes back to what we said in Ryan's interview, which is just it's so hard to believe that that truck who picked up those young women has nothing to do with this. Just because we know Chance went missing right there, right around that time. Within minutes, we see these people screaming, running through the rain, getting in a truck that's clearly like looking for them. What's that all about, if not chance? That could be some huge coincidence, but I just don't feel that in my heart of hearts. It's got to be connected.
There you guys have it. These remains are in a spot where it makes sense as far as what we know about the route that Chance took that night. It's in the vicinity that Ryan has been looking at. And Ryan himself, the person who's been looking at this longer than us, does believe that there's a very good chance that these remains are Chance.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that really jumps out at me about that statement is also that this whole discovery is being characterized as a crime scene. Police out there cited with shovels, right? So that kind of conjures up the image of a concealed grave, maybe. And a crime scene conjures up the idea that this wasn't an accident, right, Myles? Because that's always been something that has been sort of in the conversation here because we didn't know exactly what happened to Chance. I think a lot of us suspected foul play. Once you kind of put all the facts that we do know together, it always leaned in that direction. But no one could count out that some natural accident happened, and for some reason we just hadn't found him. But now looking at this, investigators with shovels in something that Ryan himself characterizes as a crime scene, well, that opens up a whole new can of worms, right? I think it closes some doors and it opens some others. It begs the question, what was Chance's body, if indeed this is Chance, doing all the way out there? Was he buried? And if so, who put him there? Which kind of takes us back to all of the coverage we've done on this case so far, right? And back to Ryan's investigation and some of these strange things that we're seeing, women running in a rainstorm, a mysterious truck pulling a small boat near where Chance was last, sighted and where his cell phone last pinged. So it's interesting, right? It's kind of amazing actually that we even know this much considering the police haven't come out and said anything publicly. Like this is a real peek behind the curtain of what's going on here. And it explains maybe why they haven't said anything yet.
Let's break down what this potentially means,
Yeah, let's do it.
So if they test these remains and it turns out that this is what's left of Chance, okay? Um, what does that mean? Okay, what's the implications of that? And what does that mean for what we already knew, and what does that mean going forward, right? So my first question is the pressure that Ryan's been putting on the police department out there over the last couple of years, and his coming forward with these witnesses who saw the girls getting into the truck, as Sean was just talking about, all of those extra details. is that's what pushed the police department to actually ramp up their investigation. I'm curious about that. I don't know if that's anything, I don't know if there's an answer to that that we'll ever get, but that's something that I'm always going to have to wonder, right? And I'm sure Ryan's going to have something to say about that once he's able to talk about this. My big question right now, and I'm sorry if I'm going to sound a little conspiratorial here, but why did they notify Dawn and the family before they had positive ID on these remains? This can't be the only person that's ever gone missing in this area. Like just finding human remains in the middle of a rural area like that, it's a shocking discovery for sure, but it happens, right? So why did they notify Dawn ahead of time before this thing's even been tested? What that tells me is that they have an idea that this probably is Chance, or else they wouldn't have brought her into it. Because as we know, and as any of you guys who have watched the coverage that we've done on this case knows, especially Dawn's interview, the Gary PD hasn't been very communicative with her over the last few years. They haven't been getting back to her. They haven't been giving her updates. She's been told that, the wife is the next of kin, so that, she doesn't even have access to everything first. So knowing that, for them to reach out to her and say, hey, this might be your son, that tells me that they have an idea that it is. So how do they have that idea, right? We have to keep going backwards on this track, right? So they let Dawn know, okay, that means that they have an idea. Where do they get that idea from? Did somebody come forward? Is somebody talking? Is somebody feeling the pressure because of the work that Ryan's done, because of the coverage that it's getting, because of all the new information that's come out in the last couple of years, really? Because I think it was like 2024 when Ryan first started talking to these witnesses, right? So has someone talked? Is there more going on here? And is the case actually going to get solved? Because, yeah, finding Chance's remains is great. And that's going to give Dawn and her family closure to some extent, but they're still not going to know what happened, right? So there has to be answers to how did his body end up there? Because this is not, as Sean said, he's not in the river. He didn't disappear in the storm, right? So if they're finding the body out there, that means it was probably deliberately put there, which means it was buried, which means people were involved, which means there was foul play. So has someone come forward and given the police a tip, and that's what they're acting on? And is this whole thing going to break open soon?
Yeah, I mean it's so right on what you just said. If you follow the trail of what's really going on here, it seems like someone said something. Either that or someone got unbelievably lucky and stumbled upon a bone sticking out of the ground on a hike, which does happen, but we haven't heard anything about that yet. And the fact that they were out there again with shovels excavating human remains, it makes me think someone finally said, I know where Chance is, and this is where you can find him, right? So who would that be and why? I think you make a great point. I mean, even on our own channel, right? Not to like toot our own horn here, but like we've learned so much about sort of Ryan, especially circling the truth and starting to figure out where these answers might be and who might know where Chance is and what happened to him. And so I'm not surprised that maybe these people or person or whoever was involved started to feel some pressure, or maybe someone with just knowledge of that felt pressure. And it also makes me wonder, this is a little, like, there's no reason to believe this, but it does make me wonder. It could be that that body was moved there recently, right? Because there's been a lot of talk about him being buried on some people's property who might be connected to this or hidden somewhere in town. And with the investigation ramping up and the pressure tightening, it could be that somebody decided to move that body. And that is why it has now been discovered, because this new place was not as hard to find as the old one. That's
Or
another
did the
option.
or did the moving of the body, those shenanigans, somebody saw it or they
Right.
were involved in it,
And
and
that's the
that
witness,
moved
right?
it. Right.
Yeah, yeah. It could be that. It could be that they decided to, do something that they hadn't, had to worry about for 6 years, and now they're moving a body again, and somebody involved in that has come forward. So we don't know. I mean, I think that's a little like there's no reason to believe that yet because it's a little out there. We're talking about two graves now instead of one. But it is a possibility, and I did think of it because people in town, and you can tell by just reading our comments on our coverage of this, A lot of people are super suspicious of, especially the in-laws, some people who are friends with the in-laws. And there's been a lot of talk about their property, concrete slabs where Chance might be underneath, which was later debunked. But still, if somebody did indeed have Chance concealed at their house or at their business or something, it's conceivable that they would start to see all this pressure mounting and say, I got to get Chance out of this place that's connected to me and somewhere more neutral. And that's what led to this.
There is precedent for remains being moved. There's going to be construction on a site or something like that, and they have to dig up the remains of an old kill. So yeah, I mean, what stands out to me above everything is that unless, like you said, a hiker stumbled upon something, which makes me feel like there would be more press and it wouldn't just be from this, sort of like leak to Dawn.
Mhm.
And the leaking to Dawn by the PD telling her this is probably your son. There's a good chance this is your son. If it was just a random discovery, again, I don't know why they would do that.
They'd
I,
wait
and
for
I
testing, right? If it was just a random body that was discovered in a national park, why go straight to Don Engelbert? Why not
right.
confirm? Because it could be anybody. It could be lost tourists, You don't know. But the fact, like you said, that they called her makes you think they knew who it was before they dug it up.
100%. And also, look, Gary PD hasn't been communicative with us. They haven't been communicative with Dawn. I might have my feelings about that on a personal level, but nowhere would I ever think that they would toy with a woman who's lost her son. So
Mhm.
why put her through that and why give her the heads up unless they really felt that there was a very good chance that this was Chance? And if that's the case, why do they think that?
Well, it does make me wonder too. We had promised our audience we were going to reach out and try to talk to Gearing PD, maybe get an interview, whatever we could get, and we didn't even get a reply letter, which we have talked about in the past is pretty unusual. Miles and I are veterans of sending letters to police departments, and we know how the communication usually looks. So it was odd not to even just get a no, thank you, which would have been legitimate. But it now does make me think, just because of the timing of it all, it's like maybe they really were dealing with a witness and trying to get them to come just over the line to give this piece of information. And they were coy about doing media. What that doesn't explain, though, is why Dawn's been kept in the dark for years. You know what I mean? So it doesn't quite answer that part of it. But if that's what it was, as far as not getting back to us, I would understand that. Because hearing nothing was kind of mystifying, I think, for
Right.
everybody,
Right.
everybody
Well,
on our
look,
side of
if
it.
you look at the timeline of everything, over the last couple of years, Ryan gets involved, these witnesses come forward to him, he brings those witnesses to the police department. You look at when we did our interviews, which was this past summer of 2025, right? 2024, Ryan's talking about witnesses coming forward. We reach out to Gearing PD this summer to try to get a statement from them. We never hear back. As you said, they probably, if they're doing their job, they spoke to the people that Ryan found. So maybe that led to more uncovering and that got us to where we are right now. I mean, that's best case scenario, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I think you said it at the beginning of this, and it's all I can think about is like our hearts are with Dawn. We've got such a great relationship with her since our first contact, all the way through the interview and the follow-ups we've done on this. We've stayed in touch, and she's just a wonderful person. Chance's whole family is really wonderful, and even though she wasn't really ready to come talk about this yet, because I think everything is kind of just like on tenterhooks at the moment until we confirm that that's Chance. Um, I just can't imagine how emotional it's got to be at their household, all these years waiting and wondering the press that they've done, including our show. And then finally, we may be about to find out everything here.
Yeah.
And it's the other part of that too, Miles, is like, even when they confirm that that's Chance's body, there's the whole next half, which is what happened to him. Are they going to be able to find evidence of an injury? Right? What did someone shoot him? Was he hit with a car, like strangled? Was it an accident that someone concealed? Like, there's that whole second half of this that we're going to have to maybe wait for autopsy reports and forensic investigation and more witness interviews. So, like, as sad as it is, I mean, it's great that we found Chance, but this is just step one now, to solving the rest of what happened.
great that we may have found Chance. We don't even know yet. We
Yeah,
haven't
good
gotten
point.
confirmation. But yes, it's awesome if it is him. But like you said, and then, just as far as the state of his remains, how long it's been there, how much are they going to be able to figure out forensically, without more testimony, without actually speaking to someone who was there when he disappeared, when whatever happened, that if this is chance that he ended up in this spot.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, the silver lining could be that if our sort of running theory that we're talking about here of someone coming forward with information about where he was buried, if that is what happened, that person may also know the method of his death, like what killed him, who did it, and we could get answers a lot easier than having to sort of forensically remove them from 6-year-old remains, which can be really hard, like you said. So, God willing, there's a cooperating witness. I think that feels like the fastest track to getting some real answers for this family.
Agreed, agreed. And my gut's telling me that them telling Dawn, them knowing where this body was, someone's got to have talked. I just it's too coincidental.
Yeah, I don't see, the more we kind of work it over, I just don't see how that's not it. And for me, it really is that if this was something a hiker turned up, or someone walking their dog and the dog goes over and finds a leg bone, they wouldn't have called Dawn because they would have no idea who that was. They might in their hearts be like, oh, well, I wonder if it's Chance Engelbert, but you don't go and disturb someone in Dawn's position and in her family's position until you have solid information if that's how it was discovered. However, if it's somebody that came forward and said, I know what happened to Chance Engelbert. If you go to this location with shovels, you will find him. That's when you pick up the phone and call Dawn when you actually find a person there, right? Because you're
Right.
pretty sure that's who it is.
What we have to keep an eye on now is obviously staying on top of the tests and what news comes out. And guys, we will be in touch with Dawn. We will stay in touch with Dawn and Ryan. Whatever they can share with us, I'm sure they're going to share with us. But the other thing is, are the police going to start bringing other people in for interviews? Are we going to see members of certain families or relations to certain people being brought in for questioning? That's what I want to keep an eye on. And if any of you guys are on the ground out there and you're hearing anything, because we got a lot of responses and a lot of viewers from folks who are right in that area and who told us a lot of inside information. You guys helped us debunk the concrete slab story. So let us know if you're hearing anything in town, if anybody's actually getting calls, if anybody's being brought in for questioning, because as we've discussed, it's a small place. I don't want to go down that road again, but we know that people know each other's business. So let us know if you're hearing anything out there.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about it. All comments are always welcome, but especially now, this is sort of like a live news event happening. So, everyone who was from that town commenting before, keep us abreast of the situation. And on our end, we know we'll be talking to Ryan and Dawn again at some point when there's really some news and they're ready to talk. I think for them right now, what I'd like everyone to understand is they're right in the middle of this, and this is actually a pretty big story that's beyond just our channel. And I think with nothing totally confirmed yet, there's not much to say. Like I said earlier, I think these are all folks kind of on tenterhooks with their fingers crossed, waiting for more news. So we're just respecting that, right, for the moment until the right time comes and we know more. And then we will be happy to bring you guys, more from them. In the meantime, this is what we know. This is kind of what we think. And I think with the information available, that's kind of all that's really safe to speculate about. One more thing I'll add is we also have been really trying to get in touch with Matt Miller, who is Chance's close friend. He's the last guy to speak to Chance on the phone the night that he went missing. And Matt is such a great guy. He's got a really busy life, and it's a little bit different than Miles's and I. He lives in a place with spotty internet service and a super busy work schedule. So we have not given up on him or forgotten him. We've been talking to him. Just be patient because there's been a couple attempts that haven't quite worked out for reasons that have nothing to do with Matt or us. Um, but we're
What
on it.
what Sean's saying is we've actually had it on the schedule. That was confirmed. We had already set it up with him, and then things just happened on his end that made it impossible for him to record with us. So,
Yeah.
he has been committed to it, and then it just, act of God has gotten in the way of it.
Yeah, through no fault of his own. He's a great guy, and he also really wants to make this work. This is sometimes how it goes. When you do an interview show, lining up people's schedules who are in different parts of the world with all different kinds of things going on in their life, or poor service or whatever. It's always a scramble. But we're on it. Don't think we have forgotten about that. And so this is just a great example of actually how we intend to keep on the cases that we're covering as things come forward, as new people come forward, as new information comes forward. We're going to keep going back and updating all this. So, like I've
Absolutely.
said in the past, I really hope, and I'm starting to feel like this might become a true crime solved case file for us, right?
I always felt that this one had a really good chance of getting solved. I did not expect there to be I did not expect there to be developments like this so soon after we started covering it. It's very, very exciting. I would be egotistical to say that I feel like we're a part of it, but I do feel very honored to have the trust and the relationship that we have with Dawn and with Ryan, and that we can speak directly with them. And as I said, guys, we did pass on all of the messages and all of the concern that all of our viewers have had for Chance and for the case. Everybody who's messaged us and said, "Hey, did you see this?" And so many people are caught up in this, and we did pass that all on to Dawn, and she was very, very grateful and very, very thankful for it, and thankful that we're staying on top of it. And like Sean said, as soon as they're able to talk, I'm sure they will. But until then, we're going to stay on top of it, and we're gonna keep an eye on what's going on. And again, if anyone's there on the ground and you're hearing anything about anyone going in for questioning, anyone getting called by the cops, because I think that's the obvious next step. Like, they do the forensics, we get a confirmation. If this is Chance, there better be some interviews happening after that.
Oh yeah, you've got to imagine there's going to be. Well, yeah, that being said, don't be afraid to comment. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe. We're here twice a week, every week, both reacting to your comments and bringing you new cases and new interviews. So thank you guys. This has been all I think we can bring you right for the moment, Myles, on Chance Engelbert, but certainly more to come.
Thanks, everybody.